Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another tropical update from the Hurricane Watch team. We have multiple areas of concern that we need to discuss. So let's get started. We've been monitoring Tropical Storm Darby for about the last day or so, and right now it is intensifying well offshore. The southwestern coast of Mexico has become much better organized on conventional satellite imagery throughout the last day or so. At 9:16 UTC, more recent 12:16 UTC microwave paths have revealed an increased banding over the eastern semicircle of the storm and an improved low-level inner core structure. Visible satellite imagery also shows the increase of its banding and the development of a small CDO, or a central dense overcast feature. There still appears to be some entrainment of drier mid-level air over the northwestern portion of the circulation, but with low environmental shear and warm sea surface temperatures (SSTs) ahead, Darby should be able to strengthen over the next 36 to 48 hours. The updated official intensity forecast shows a faster rate of strengthening during the first day or so, primarily due to the higher initial intensity. The forecast calls for Darby to become a hurricane in just around 24 hours, and then peak its intensity in a couple of days. After that time, really will gradually decreasing sea surface temperatures and a more stable environment should lead to steadily weakening during the remainder of the forecast period. The official wind speed forecast is near the high end of the during the guidance during the first 24 to 48 hours, and is in best agreement with the European-based SHIPS model. Thereafter, it is close to the various consensus aids. Darby continues to move westward at around 13 knots. The cyclone should continue on a westward motion to the south of a mid-level ridge extending westward from the northern portion of the Baja California. In a few days, the western portion of the ridge is forecasting to weaken, which should cause Darby to turn west-northwestward. However, the track guidance is in a general agreement on this scenario. Though the UK Met model depicts a much weaker Darby, and it shows a faster westward motion. The official forecast is closest to the ECMWF. Well, now that is showing slower than the consensus aids due to the contribution from the much faster UK Met model. It is also a good note that the remnant of Darby could impact Hawaii, and will definitely keep you updated if any impact confidence increases. Stay tuned to the Hurricane Watch team for updates. That's currently what we're watching with Tropical Storm Darby. As you can see here, deep thunderstorm activity near the center. You can really see that central dense overcast beginning to become more well developed in this entire system. Deep thunderstorm activity, deep convection is going to be continuing to move away from the southwestern coast of Mexico. Any impacts that do occur will be minimal. Rip currents, big waves, rough surf. I do want to talk a little bit about Invest 90W, and I do want to pull that up right here. It's in the West Pacific, right off the east coast of the Philippines. Right there. Invest 90W is currently to the east of the Philippines and is organizing with deep convection blowing up near the center. The future of this system is uncertain. The GEFS guidance is pretty good agreement that the system will track towards the northwest over the next 40 to 72 hours, maintaining intensity or slightly intensifying. However, afterward, half of the guidance makes it shoot off towards the Mariana Islands and Taiwan and move towards Hainan. The ECMWF ensembles don't develop the system at all, while the GEPS ensembles move it towards the Marianas. No matter what happens, rough seas, possible heavy rainfall, and rip currents are likely across portions of the Philippines and southern Taiwan over the next 48 to 72 hours. So this is really going to move generally to the north over the next several days, like I was saying, and could possibly impact Taiwan, or depending on the exact track that this takes, it could just shoot right up to the northeast. and the jet stream may pull it up north. That's also a possibility, and then it just falls apart. But for right now, currently the biggest threats: heavy rain, gusty winds from time to time, and storm and rip currents are going to be a big threat for sure, as this is creating big surf and rough surf along the east portion of the Philippines. I do want to talk a little bit about the Gulf of Mexico, because the National Hurricane Center has actually designated an area of disturbed weather known as an AOI and an area of investigation. And they're saying a surface trough of low pressure is forecast to develop in the northern Gulf of Mexico from a decaying frontal boundary currently located in the southeastern United States. Any development of this system is anticipated to be slow to occur while it drifts just offshore of the northern Gulf of Mexico coastline through the middle Gulf of Mexico coastline to the middle of the latter part of this week. Now, regardless of really any kind of development, a heavy rain will be possible along portions of the northern Gulf coastline from Louisiana to Florida Panhandle over the next several days. And I even think Texas could also get some heavy rain as this does begin to make its way to the west. As we know, most areas of the south definitely need this rain, as we've had this big heat ridge over the southern portion of the United States, causing triple digits across the entire southern plains. So far, I just wanted to say thank you all for watching this video so far. Just letting you know that if this video has been useful to you, like it, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks. There's actually an area, before I move over to the Bay of Bengal, I do just want to look at the forecast models and talk a little bit about what the forecast models are showing with this system here in the Gulf. So the GFS really hasn't shown anything significant, which is great, but what they are showing, they do show, it definitely does move off, and it just really produces decent amount of rain over the southern portion of the United States. Nothing super duper crazy at all. I do want to take a look into what the European model does show, as that is the more accurate model and the more reliable model. The European model does show it, but instead of it slowly does develop into something, but really instead of developing and moving westward, it develops and just stalls and actually makes landfall there in, looks like, Alabama at 995 millibars. I do want to zoom in this area. Again, I do want to point out this is 162 hours out. This is beyond 5 days. It's quite a ways out before this even does make landfall. If anything, it might develop possibly in 100 hours. Again, this is still within 5 days. We just have to watch how this storm and this system does develop and how quickly it develops. So as you can see, there's a system right there. You can't see it does try to organize itself together as it just stalls over the northern Gulf of Mexico and makes landfall there at 995 millibars. Pretty well defined there, as you can see. It is closed low. This is at this point a closed low. As you can see here, winds not strong at all, thankfully. It's not going to be a wind threat. I mean, it doesn't even show hardly tropical storm force. It's like 32 knots, maybe 36 knots. Very low in tropical storm force. If anything, it's going to be a big rainmaker and bring lots of heavy rain, and possibly even flooding to portions of the southeast. If this does move off to the west towards Texas, that could also be a flooding threat, especially for southeast Texas. Heavy rain, flooding, especially in southeast Texas, leads to heavy rain and flooding very quickly. But with what our latest model is showing right now, it is not showing there is going to be any kind of a flood threat for southeast Texas, but we will certainly keep you updated on that. So I do want to move over to the Bay of Bengal. I'm going to play this into motion here. The IMD, the Indian Meteorological Department, has issued a low chance of tropical cyclone formation in the next 5 days. In the northwestern Bay of Bengal, ensembles expect the low to move slowly, erratically, mostly towards the east, and do not indicate significant intensification. The main impacts will be heavy rain and rough seas, rip currents, rough seas, and big waves. Last thing I want to talk about before I close this video out is I want to talk a little bit about what we have in the Eastern Pacific. As you know, the National Hurricane Center has designated another area of disturbed weather here in the East Pacific. However, first I just want to say it's not going to make any direct impacts. Outer bands may bring some heavy rain. You may see some gusty winds from time to time. But this isn't going to bring any direct impacts. You're not going to see any storm surge. You're not going to see any most likely won't see tropical storm force winds or hurricane force winds for that matter. So in the East Pacific, the National Hurricane Center, again, like I said, was marked an area of interest near Central America with a medium chance of formation, 50% chance in the next 5 days. The disturbance will be initially heading to the west. However, a turn towards Baja California is possible this would be past day 5 period. Interest in Mexico and Central America should watch this disturbance, and the Hurricane Watch team will keep you updated. So that's what we have right now. We have Darby, and we have systems in the West Pacific, potentially seeing that system develop there in the Bay of Bengal, and obviously we're watching Tropical Storm Darby. Could become a hurricane. I do want to show you the models in the East Pacific because the GFS has been pretty robust on a lot of tropical cyclone activity developing here in the Eastern Pacific, and that's something I do want to point out. As you can see, there's Darby right there as it develops. I do want to put this on MSOP and precipitation. That's a little bit easier to see. As you can see there, it does develop possibly into a hurricane. 988 millibars is what the GFS is showing. 985, 982. So we're going to be closely monitoring that system, and it could even be impacting Hawaii. This is literally the European model. I'm at the GFS wrong. But generally, the GFS has always been a little bit aggressive, and this doesn't always happen. So as you can see, it does turn into a system for sure. Then they do show another system, which does get generally pretty close. But as you can see, really the biggest impacts from this are just going to be heavy rain along the coast of Mexico, as you can see, indicated by the moisture and the radar according to the GFS. As you can see that, and then it will be moving away. But again, this could be a significantly intense system. Generally, as you can see, 968, 967 millibars. So near the core of the system, very, very, very heavy amounts of rain. But in the outer bands, there could still be pockets of heavy rain in the outer bands. And 2 more systems show that they could possibly develop. But for right now, that is what we got. I am going to end this off here. So that's all the news we have for you right now. Don't forget that we have our Discord server where you can chat with the team and the community. Link is in the description below. We have the Patreon page too. For only $1 a month, you can get exclusive benefits and keep the channel going. And if you don't want or don't have the ability to support us in that way, even something as little as subscribing to our channel, liking our videos, sharing them, and commenting helps out a lot. And also just, feel free to buy us a coffee through PayPal at hurricanewatchteam@gmail.com. Remember, we are the Hurricane Watch Team, your source for cyclone information. Peace out.